I usually type all the way.
Okay, I'm gonna go live now.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It is June 18th, Tuesday, and it is now 3:04. We're going to be starting our meeting. I'd like to do a call to order. Please, Diane.
Yeah, Chantal Fosse here, Lindsay Hostler here, Bernie Goldberg.
Daddy's coming in later.
Mary Mellon here, Summer Thomas.
Here.
Ian Whitney.
Here.
Thank you.
If we are going to, on item number 3, we're going to do a board meeting agenda for the minutes, or for the agenda for today, for June 18th, 2024.
Even y'all do to approve the agenda?
Is there a second? Mrs. Chantal, second. Diane?
Chantal. Mary. Aye. Summer.
Here, aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, looking at item number 4, doing the minutes for May 14th, 2024. Sure you guys had a chance to look at the previous minutes that we did. Is there a first? Motion to approve.
This is Chantal, motion to approve.
Thank you, Chantal. Second?
This is Mary, I second.
Thank you. Dan?
Chantal. Aye. Mary. Aye. Summer.
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Was there, moving to item number 5, hearing of persons wishing to address the board? Mr. Fox, have you heard anything?
No.
No? Okay. Item number 6, any written communications? No? Okay. Moving on to item number 7, we're going to go into closed session for public employee personnel complaint investigation findings. And it is now, we're going to be in closed session at 3:06.
So we have a room,
Yeah, give me 1 second here.
and then I don't know how if Bernie comes in the middle of this, how to bring him in.
Yeah, so we will have,
I guess if he texts me or you can.
right. So we have Melissa there also. So give me 1 second here. Okay, we are back on.
Okay, great. Thank you. We're back in open session and it is from closed session and it is 3:47. All right, from the closed session, the board members have come, the investigation has been concluded and the complaint closures will be sent to all parties involved. Got that, Diane?
Give me 1 second.
No problem.
So say the last part again, so.
The investigation has been concluded and the complaint closures will be sent to all parties involved.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Slose. Okay, moving on, we're going to go to open session to item number 8. Sorry, not item 8, sorry, number 9.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you.
So there's 3 people that were farewelling here, but only one that I'm sure we're farewelling. And that's our beloved leader and chairperson, Summer. She is riding off into the sunset, the Oakhurst sunset. So Sean Tall and Lindsay also have served their time, so to speak, and 3 years.
Good job.
And yes, bravo. Thank you all in your service so much, giving your time and leadership in schools and super valuable, needed, important, so thank you very much. I've been in contact with both Lindsay and Chantal about the possibility of renewing their third or second term for another lap around the track. And so we don't know. We might be welcoming them again soon. But at this point, take your chance and say thank you and fare thee well. Thanks. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, for warrant reports for 5/6/2024 to June 13th, 2024. Any questions on this before we take action? Hearing none, is there a first to approve the warrant reports?
This is just all I approve.
Thank you.
Ian, please, second.
Going to item number 11, information, oh, sorry, that's right.
Have a roll call.
Sorry, no, I'm not. It has been a pleasure, I want to say, it has definitely been a pleasure and
I'm
really.
not trying to rush out the door.
I'm not trying to rush out the door. I have a basketball game to go to right now. I love it.
Chantel. Hi. Bernie is here now. Bernie, welcome.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was Summer, I'm sorry, yes, I vote aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Summer.
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Moving on to number 11, information item 2023-2024 final budget update by Jody.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen here. You'll see in your packet, most disabled the first screen sharing, so I can't share my screen.
Hold on. Sorry, back.
Some hosts did that.
Okay, you should be able to now.
Thank you. Okay, yes. So that is a document, a little piece of paper that I added to everybody's package. Everyone should have this one. You see it on the screen. So what I did is I put it into this format because now you're looking at the LCAPs. We're going to be including the LCAPs at this point. And so I wanted to put the 23-24 budget and the 24-25 budget in LCAP format in a very greatly synopsized version of it. And so, basically, it's just showing on the top box, there are the three schools. And so it has the total revenues for the year. So Mountain Home School has total revenue. And this is the projection for 23, 24. Of course, it's not quite done, but this is the projection at this point. It's pretty close. That's how the LCAPs work, is they do a projection of the current year, and then they do an estimate for the budget for next year as well. So it's a budget of next year and the projection of this year, because it come up before the year's over. And so that's why it's sort of this number. So total revenue for Mount Home is projected at $2,659,000, $2,659,000, and then total projected expenditures is $2,378,000, having a excess of revenues less expenditures of $280,931. As you'll recall, we moved the capital expenditures into next year because we didn't get to that. We are actually doing that this summer, and so that construction up in Oakhurst will be done over the summer, and that'll be in next year's budget. For Glacier High School, $1,209,000 in revenues, expenditures of $1,166,000 for revenues over expenditures $42,085. Then Endeavor, $4,528,000 in revenues and $4,158,000 in expenditures for an excess revenue of $369,000. That's the current projection of the budget. So it's a good year. Those for Mount Home and Glacier were negative, as you recall before, because of the capital expenditures, and now they're positive. So I can, the reason the bottom part of that screen is here is when you talk about the LCAPs, you can use this as a reference item to explain what is going on there. So in the LCAPs, goal 1, 2, and 3, you see on the left-hand side of the screen there, those are our goals in the LCAP, and then they're broken down into all those different segments. But this just shows what the LCAP is after, so what are your personnel and non-personnel costs. And so then I've broken those down to, they then balanced up total expenditures by goal, by personnel and non-personnel.
Just for reference, we will be looking at the LCAPs again and improving, and Grace will be reminding us of what those different goals are.
The goals are,
Yeah.
So this is now the budget, since I'm bringing this to you for final approval. They've also been put in the LCAP just this way. And so you at least have a cross reference of what that means for 23, 24, and 24, 25. So unless there's any questions, I know it's, the thing about the LCAP is it changes all the parameters of how you look at the information versus how you normally look at it by object. This is by personnel and non-personnel. The net profit, the excess revenues is still the same. That number always is the same. But that's why I did it in this format, trying to be helpful for the LCAP. Plus, you had seen the projections through April anyway, pretty close. So I didn't think there was anything to rehash all of that, other than the big move of the capital projects into next year. So that's it for me for now. Unless there are any questions?
Thank you, Jody. Any questions? Hearing none. We'll go to item number 12, to take action on 2024-2025 budget for Mountain Home School. Jody Jeffers.
Okay. I just share my screen again. Sorry, just one moment. Okay, well, I think you have a bigger version of that. So, I can make this larger. So, you've seen this, there was a projection a preliminary last time. These are the final numbers. The revenues came out about the same as they were the last time we discussed, because the LCFF had, the colors had already been decided upon as 1.07. The ADA projections up in the upper right-hand corner are the same as they were last time. So the revenues are very similar to what we saw before. Some of also the expenses are very similar to what they're the same as they were when it comes to salaries and benefits. Even the new people were already projected in those benefits and expenditures for the salaries. A couple of things changed down here. They're all sort of within each of those object codes, so there were really no one big guy sticking out other than site improvement and building improvements which were moved into that year. So it's pretty similar to what you were looking at before. At the bottom, you can see that the revenue less expense is negative for Mount Home and Glacier because of the capital expenditures. On a go-forward basis, they would make money now. As we were, they would have more revenues and expenditures. If you look at the very bottom of the screen, where it says net revenue adjusted for extraordinary items, at the very bottom, it shows, if I take out the capital projects, it shows what it would be if you took those out, just to give you an idea. Now, as we know, Glacier is running tight. Right next year, we're projecting 84 enrollment and ADA of 79 and a half. Yeah, and so that's a break even. That number shows us that if a Glacier gets lower than this number, it's going to lose money. If it gets higher than that money, it has a net revenue. So, and it's possible at this point, these are projections, but the good thing about Glacier is that it has a very, very good reserve. You'll see there where I have revenue less expense and it's carryover from the prior year. Its reserve is $603,000. So it can survive. It has 43.2% of a year's worth of expenditures in reserve, which is very high, very good. So it could lose, money for an extended period of time and still be solid. We're actually showing that it's not as bad as it sounds. We're at a break-even point. I think that's fine. I think we're looking for it. Eric and Mike and I have talked about it. I think that that's a very doable thing that Glacier will continue.
Yeah, we don't see Glacier's population has been stable for many, many years as far as the enrollment and who we're drawing from, and we don't really see any big trends or any alarm. I think that we're talking, it only takes a couple students to throw this one way or the other in a school that size, and frankly, this probably is largely borne out of we're moving one of the high school teachers to become part-time teacher, part-time assistant principal. And in doing that, we're reducing her student caseload. And so that just reduces down the number of students that we can actually bring in. We think that this is maybe a transition year in this regard. We know we need the administrative site level support. And so I think that's really where we know we've trimmed some of the numbers in order to be able to bring Katie Kelly in as assistant principal part-time. And so on a go forward, we would not necessarily see, we'd be able to, I think, increase our numbers.
So, and there's also structural elements of this, like any business. If you're showing your structural elements of your expenditures, you could change those and make money. Staffing could change, we could change the way we do certain things and just turn that into a greater amount of revenue or expense. This is the current system, the way it is, with the current program as is. So there's no, like if this were a private concern, a private business, we would just change things around and keep making money a different way. And this is also possible with this school. So right now, we're keeping the status quo going and breaking even plus $5,000. So I'm just saying that's not, that's a good thing. This is what we want to do moving it forward, and it has a big reserve, so I don't see any problem with that at this point. That's my take on it. That's Eric and Mike's take on it as well, but we're doing fine there. Endeavor over there is on the right side of the screen right there is doing quite well, and we're looking for a new property and that's as we've been for the last 2 years, and so you're seeing no capital costs there because it's nothing. that's projected at this point, and even if we did, the idea would be, it would be a lease arrangement and not a construction that we would be putting the roof for. So that's all three schools. You can see in this format or in that format. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Any questions? Hearing none, let's take action here for 2024, 2025 budget for Mountain Home School for Jody. Is there a first? This is going to tell us. A second?
You would say,
No, is there any discussion? Hearing none?
Chantel.
Aye.
Bernie.
Aye.
Mary. Aye. Summer.
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to action number 13, 2024, 2025 budget for Glacier High School. And so let's take action. You just heard that, and you just heard from Jody, so let's take action on that. I will entertain a motion for this item.
so moved, you, Whitney?
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel. Bernie.
Aye.
Mary. Aye. Summer.
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 14, the 2024-2025 budget for Endeavor Charter School by Jody. I will entertain a motion for approval.
This is Chantel. Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
This is Mary. Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none? Diane?
Chantel.
Aye.
Bernie.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Summer.
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 15, Board Designated Reserve Funds Resolution 2023-2024.
Okay, that would be me again. So I'm gonna share a screen again.
Yeah, right now.
All right, this one. Okay, so this is, you have the resolution in front of you, and this is just an Excel schedule showing you what we're talking about in that resolution. So you can see it a little easier. So, try to run. So, the main reason here for these reductions, every year we look at the reserves and make sure that not only that we are saying what the board wants to do with the reserves, and because we should always be allocating reserves and assigning them by future use as much as possible. Now, last year we had done this, so if you see the current facilities acquisition or capital projects for Mountain Home was 1.7 million. That was a reserve that was set up by the board. My request, and then Glacier had 425,000, and Endeavor had 1 million. And so, and then for current economic uncertainties, 325,000 Mountain Home, 155,000 for Glacier, and 550,000 for Endeavor. So now, when the years, when we get to the end of the year, and I look at it again, I have to make sure also that the projection for how much we're going to spend on each of those items. If we're going to spend them in the current year, that the reserve is there, I don't want to double those. I don't want to show, oh, we're going to spend 355,000. I don't want to have that in 1.7. I would like to reduce that out of future reserves and actually spend it in the given year. So that's what's happening here. Is Mountain Home, Glacier both are showing those items in their reserve, but we're going to spend them in the year that the reserve is in. So I would be double dipping and showing them in two places. So that's why I'm asking for those to be reduced so that the future reserve is now accurate. So, as for the economic uncertainties, $55,000 through $250,000 for Glacier and Endeavor. In any given year, you want to keep your unassigned at a certain level so that your losses and gains can be in the unassigned. In other words, if we kept it as it was going to, the unassigned was going to be negative because the assigned is more than the total amount of the reserves, okay? So I had to look at that, so we need to reduce that down so we have a reasonable amount of wiggle room when it comes to our expenditures in a given year. So that's why those two drop. Now, there's no legal requirement for any of this. These are assignments that the board does for the use of, for projections of future costs. And we do this to show that we're, also to our authorizers, so we're thinking about this at all times.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody, for that. I appreciate that. Let's take an action. I will entertain a motion to approve the board designated reserve funds resolution 2023-2024.
This is Mary, I motion to approve. Decision to
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel. Aye. Bernie.
Aye.
Mary. Aye. Summer.
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
We'll have the resolution passed around for signature, so we can see it come along.
Okay.
Okay, moving to item number 16, information item for the LCAP, local performance indicator self-reflection reports for MHS, not homeschool, but Glacier High School and Endeavor Charter School. Grace?
All right, so I'm going to jump through this real quick because most of this you've seen already. We're just now at the end of the year where we're getting ready to post our 2024-2025 LCAPs, which you saw at the last meeting. So this is just giving a summary of the goals and the changes that we made to specific actions. For the majority of them, the actions that are removed are because they're completed, and then the language of those that are changed are to be like more inclusive of like adding administrators into like some of the trainings rather than having them set aside as an action item to themselves. And then also emphasizing that our parent trainings are happening in multiple ways, not just in workshops. We also have our local performance indicators and self-reflection reports. So much of this is based off of our surveys that were sent out in March. And then you'll see on each of these the different priorities. So for priority 1, most teachers have clear credentials and are appropriately placed. Priority 2 in all areas, which is professional learning, instructional materials, academic standards. In all schools scored 5 out of 5. And then here's some backup survey questions to priority 2. So you can see, it's hard to see, you can't see on the bottom, but green is poor, but everything else is satisfactory, above average, or excellent. So in the area of learning materials, textbooks. Priority 3 is in community engagement. So seeking input, partnerships, building relationship with staff and families. Again, 5 out of 5 for all schools. And here's some data to back that up. And some other of our survey questions, knowledge of advising teachers and support, welcome, valued in the community, from parents and from students, how well the school communicates. Again, the green is the only one that's poor. Safety on campus, high scores in all areas at all schools. So this is priority 6, school climate. Safety on campus, emotional safety, again, very high. Good. Clean and good condition, buildings and classrooms, positive environment, priority 7, class offerings, and A to G, offerings and knowledge, college and career readiness. And in summary, would do our families like what we're doing? Yes. So we're across the board, really high scores in all the local indicators.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for doing that. That was really positive. Like they were doing our jobs, you're all doing your jobs, it's great. And I like that the safety too, just because that has been some concerns, I think, with the staff members. So to be able to thank you, Holly, and thank you, Mr. Kettleton. as well. So moving on to item number 17, 2024, 2025 local control accountability plans, LCAP and budget review for parents for Mountain Home School, Grace and Jody.
So, yeah, all the LCAP pieces are the pieces that you saw, they're the changes to the goal and the LCAPs that were presented at the last board meeting.
Right, so you've seen the LCAPs as far as the narratives and the goals, the same as the last meeting. And you've seen the LCAP numbers because Jody's presented the budgets.
Yes. Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve.
Steve would be, so moved.
Is there a second? This is Mary, I second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
Mary, aye, Summer,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item 18, same as 2024, 2025 for Glacier High School. I would like to entertain a motion.
This is Chantel, motion to.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Ian Whitney.
Thank you. Here, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Summer,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Moving on to item number 19. Let's do the, I will entertain a motion for 2024, 2025 local control accountability plans for Endeavor Charter School. Is there a first?
This is Chantel, motion to.
Thank you, Chantel. Is there a second?
This is Mary, I second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Summer, aye, Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 20, EPA resolution for 2024, 2025, and 2023 and 2024, Mountain Home School.
Summer, yes, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but it's come to my attention that I'm off on my numbers.
Okay.
So can we change the numbers on these three resolutions to end in 3, 4, and 6?
So Mountain Home is number 3.
It's gonna need to be 3, because I already had a 2 that I was unaware
All right, and then Glacier High is 4,
of.
and then
Endeavor 6.
is 6. Okay,
And we'll make the change on the paperwork.
Okay.
okay, thank you.
Okay,
And
thank you.
that, so I apologize.
No, that's-
Those are the, that's the
That's
resolution.
resolution numbers, okay, thank you. Okay, so going on to item number 20, so Jody.
Yeah, so I can cover 20, 21, and 22. At the same time, we can go back to them if you like.
Perfect.
This is a required, the resolution is, it goes to every LEA in California that gets EPA money. This EPA money is required to be used only for the purposes that were set aside for by the voters back on the dates that are indicated here, November 7, 2012. So the board has to say, we will use EPA money for these particular purposes. That's what each of them say on the budget. On the LCFF calculator, that is what comes from the state, that tells us what the EPA numbers are. That is what is on this resolution, and that's what's in the budget. So they all balance.
The education protection account money is not extra money for the state. It's just money that's inside the LCFF. But a certain percentage of that has to be set aside under this resolution.
And so it's a required resolution, doesn't need balance, and it's the verbiage that's required under law.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to I will entertain a motion for approval for item number 20 first for the EPA resolution for 2024, 2025, number 2023, 2024-3, Mountain Home School.
So moved, Ian Whitney.
Thank you. Is there a second? This is Mary, a second. Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel, Lindsay. Oh, it's not your son. Bernie,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Summer,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item number 21. I will entertain a motion for approval for EPA resolution for 2024, 2025, number 2023-2024-4. This is Mary, motion to approve. This is just Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none? Diane?
Chantel,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Summer,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 22, I will entertain a motion to approve EPA resolution for 2024-2025, number 2023-2024-6, Endeavor Charter School. Is there a first? This is Chantel. Is there a second?
Second, yeah.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none? Diane?
Chantel,
Aye.
Bernie,
Yes.
Mary,
Aye.
Summer,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number,
All of those are board resolutions that will need signatures. I've just crossed out and renumbered appropriately, as we already mentioned, and Polly will be bringing those around for your signatures, please.
okay, thank you. Item,
Also, if we can address Bernie real quickly, is there a way we can get you to sign all these resolutions at some point? I know it's summertime.
Absolutely. I know that I promised you I'd come by last month and do one that I have. Can I sign the ones here, or do you want me to wait and sign one that everyone has signed?
You could sign, I think you could do a signature page there, Bernie, for sure, that would work. Also, I can, sometime later this week, I could bring them to your office as well.
That's the surest way to make sure that I sign.
We can send them for an electronic signature also.
Well, it's easy enough, I think, to bring him to his office. So I'll just reach out to you for a good convenient time for you, Bernie, sometime tomorrow or the next day. Would that be okay?
That'd be good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
all right, thank you. Moving to number 23, approval hiring new staff.
So, well, you see a whole bunch of people there, and some of these folks were hired mid-year, and they're already working and doing great things for us. Others are teachers that will be joining with the team come August, but they have not come to you yet for final approval. So Hunter Davis is IT, working with the IT team at all three schools. Amy Smith is a new teacher who, a veteran teacher in our area up in Oakhurst, but new and home coming on in August. Robin Allen is a teacher with Endeavor, will be coming on in August. Kristen Tettleton is a teacher, veteran teacher coming out of Kingsburg for Endeavor and will be coming on our team in August. Caitlin Kundart is a school psychologist we've been contracting with through Fresno County for work here at Endeavor for a couple of years. And now she is going to be full-time with us and serving all three of our schools. That's for school psych services. Marissa Gaviria is coming on in August as a receptionist for Endeavor. And Nicole Morrow is coming on as registrar for Mountain Home and Glacier High School in August.
Thank you. That's awesome that means that we're growing.
Filling some needed spots.
Needed spots
Yeah,
too
for sure.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then being able to, right. I would like to make a motion to, for action approval hiring new staff.
No.
Okay.
So moved, Ian Whitney.
Thank you. Is there a second? This is Mary, a second. Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, Diane?
Chantel,
Aye.
Bernie,
Aye.
Mary, Summer,
Aye.
Ian.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I know that, Ian, you have to leave, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Nice getting to
Ian,
know
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you, and then I think you too as well, Bernie, you're gonna be leaving here shortly.
I am, I'll just, I'll log off and you'll know I'm gone, so.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 24, information item for WSCS update. Nancy? Hello, everyone. I am the WASC coordinator for Western Sierra Charter Schools. And currently Glacier High School and Endeavor are accredited, but I have some updates. First, I want to share that our WASC visit date has changed and it now will be March 24th through the 26th. It is still going to be a virtual visit. We are working on our self-study and hoping for it to be done early January. We will need some board members for some of these virtual meetings that we'll have with our visiting committee, so I will be giving you more details to follow. They do like to meet with just a few of the board members when they do have their visit. But some exciting news for Mountain Homeschool and for Western Sierra Charter Schools. We are now considered a system under WASC, which means that Mountain Homeschool was able to follow a very short pathway to accreditation, and this is like literally just happened. We were asked if we could submit an initial report, and it was due June 5th. And so we, the admin team did this last minute and was able to get this in, and we had our initial virtual visit on June 6th. And the accreditation for Mount Homeschool will be confirmed early July, since the commission meets June 24th, which is why they told us if you want to get it in, this is the timeline. And yes, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank John Spose, who's on here. He sat in on that virtual visit and contributed well to talking about.
Yeah, and Nancy making that happen.
Yeah.
That she's gonna go on to say now the work's in front of us for Mountain Home to be included in the report, but that's so
Yes.
great.
Yes, so this means that all three schools are going to be on the same timeline, same report, and same visit. And so I think it's the best way to align our schools with this process and for Mountain School to be accredited soon. So that's it. That's great. Good job, Nancy. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 24. Sorry, not 24, sorry, 25. Glacier High School Charter Petition Update. Thoughts?
So I need to share screen, Eric.
You were part of our meeting. It looks like you left, so you need to join the Zoom meeting again.
I left.
Looks like it. Give me 1 second here.
I'm not joining with audio, right?
No. And you can turn off your camera.
And share. Okay. So, friends, board members, patriots, you have at the back of your board packet a quick synopsis on the charter petition. It looks like this. And so just, I'll run through this to give you, I want to give you as board members at least some overview of what we're talking about here. This is an information item today. We're not asking for your approval. We will be coming to you for your approval probably at the September meeting. But we want to be able to go forward with Yosemite and bring the charter to them. We're going to be seeking Yosemite Unified approval sort of simultaneously with you as the board. But I wanted to brief you on this. So, and I'm afraid, Bernie, that this sheet I'm going to discuss, I can provide it for you when I bring the resolutions to you, but I didn't leave. Okay, yeah, I didn't leave one note first. So, there are 15 required elements in the charter petition. 15 questions that have to be answered. They're there for you on this sheet. And it's basically key components of what a school program needs to be. Some of those elements are much larger, much more significant than others. There's some of these elements that are a paragraph long in our Glacier Charter. There are others that are 20 pages long. And so, but those elements have to be in a charter petition. And as you all know, that petition is brought to the local school district, who then deliberates on that and that's the entity that's vested the responsibility to approve or deny. And so Glacier and Mountain Home are both chartered through Yosemite Unified and have been for a very, very long time. And charters live on five-year timelines. And so we then have to go back and bring the charter petition to them. So Glacier on the current charter, not the one we're considering here, is good and in operation until the end of the coming school year, June of 25. And so now this is the year where we want to get that charter approved. And so the next on that sheet is the process so far in regards to refreshing the charter. Laws change, things happen, the program may adjust or morph in certain directions, and so charters documents have to be refreshed. And so what we've done is we had our attorneys take our charter and make sure that it was up to date with all current legal requirements. That's a huge, huge piece. And then we go through and either affirm or discuss with our attorneys various points that they're recommending, but we get those basically written into the charter document. And then we review, there's a team of us that review the charter to make sure it still accurately describes our program. All of these things have already happened. And that we then have to update the academic performance information, because the authorizing entity, the thing that they review and determine whether the charter should go on, is really ultimately tied to academic performance. And so we have to then provide our argument of what our current academic performance is. We've done that. That's in the document that I texted, or didn't text, I emailed you a PDF the other day. Then we make sure that the charter is still harmonized with our other policies, all the things that have happened since the charter was approved 5 years ago, and now it's being presented to you. And so that's really where we are. The state, since Glacier's charter was ratified by Yosemite Unified, the state has enacted a number of laws that changed how charters are reauthorized and gave new authorities and criteria for charter authorization to the district, and really made it harder and tighter for charters to be reauthorized. So now there's these sort of three bands. There's high-performing charter schools that, by virtue of their test performance and how they appear on the state academic dashboard, they're high performing. That's probably a percentage of all schools, charter schools in the state. That's probably like 6-7% of schools fall in that category. They are automatic renewed. Then there is low performing. I'm skipping the middle. I'll tell you why in a second. Low performing means that they don't have they're not performing well, and the assumption is they will not be renewed. And you have to make a massive case if you're in that category of why you should be renewed. Then there is this really large middle section that is not high performing on the dashboard by the state criteria, but is not low performing. And that is where probably 75% of charter schools in the state live in the middle performing category. The middle performing category then means if you're a middle performer, you get to add, you can then ask the authorizer, or the authorizer is actually required to look at additional data, what they call verified data. And verified data is, in addition to the state testing, it's other academic assessment measures that are recognized by the state and how your school is performing on those measures. For us, we use the Northwest Education Association MAP assessment. You all know it as parents, your kids come in, we ask you to come in. They take this test at the beginning of the school year and at the end, and that test is an excellent nationally recognized test that determines success on the state test. And so we can bring in our NWA data as a middle performing school. That's where we are. So The last statement on here is that for the first time since 2020, the California Department of Education has published a list of high, middle, and low-performing charter schools. Glacier is pleased to see that the CDE has determined that Glacier is middle performing and thus eligible for a 5-year charter renewal. The reason it was the first time since 2020 was because of COVID and the shutdown, and then testing was suspended for 2 years. It jammed up all of this whole process. And so now we're sort of back on track. And so what I would like to quickly do is now go through the document and just highlight for you where our red line changes are. The document is virtually, if we don't have it highlighted, I'm gonna go through this in like 5 minutes. If where we're showing you is highlighted, that's the area where we've added new language. If I'm not stopping and pointing that out, the document is essentially the same as the existing document. Does that make sense? Okay. So we'll first go to, this is all assurances and affirmations. We have to declare that we will do all of these things, and all of these things are what's just required by law. And we say, yep, we are going to obey the law. So that's 4 pages of we will obey the law. And then we come here to charter renewal criteria, and this is essentially what has been added to the whole renewal process. And so that's new since the last charter, and our attorneys recommend that we just stick all of that language in there. It doesn't say anything how we're going to operate. It's all about what the state requires for renewal that we're putting into the document. The attorneys think we need it there. And so here we have this red line. It's renewal criteria. That's new into the document. Then we're going to come down to page 7. That's all renewal criteria. Get down to page 7. And now we're going to go from page 7 to, I don't know, there's probably 10 pages of this, of our refreshed data. And largely coming off of the state dashboard. And the state dashboard is looking at English language arts and math primarily, and then gives you a color depending on how you perform. In green, you're really, really great. And blue is next to being great, but not great.
Blue is actually the highest.
Oh, blue is the highest, sorry.
Yes.
So blue is really great, green, wannabe. And then yellow, it means you're striving and getting there, and orange, you're almost in trouble, and red, you're in trouble. And so from the state dashboard, this is a little tricky here, because for the state test, they only test 11th grade in high school. It's like 3rd grade through 8th grade, test every year. You get to high school, no test in 9th grade, no test in 10th grade, no test in 12th grade. So you test 11th grade. Well, for Glacier, you already saw the numbers, 80 kids. Your 11th graders are going to be something less than 20 testing. And for statisticians, that doesn't give you enough to work with to present. So we don't show, when we come down like on the state, they won't give us colors here. We should have colors here. But because our numbers are so low, they won't give us cool little colors. But if you take our scores and we were to apply it as if, the performance level would be blue in ELA. We're killing it in ELA, folks. You as parents, you are homeschool parents, your kids read like mad dogs, and you know it. And so then in math, we're in the yellow category. We're, major efforts. There's good things I could, if we were going to stop and point it out. Really, really good things have been happening in Mountain Home and Glacier mathematically, and there's a couple teachers really to thank for that. But math is, math is good. Suspension rate, blue, because like nobody gets suspended. And so we're really high. When you compare, this is Yosemite's color. They do get colors. And so in ELA, they're yellow. And so we're, way beyond Yosemite High School in regards to our performance in English language arts. Math, we are, needing to continue to work in math, but we're well ahead of Yosemite where they're performing in math. Suspension rate, yes.
These are all the CAS tests?
Yes.
Right.
Yep. That's the NWEA, we're going to touch on that, but yes.
This is CAS.
This is CAS. Exactly. Thank you for that, Chantel. Thanks, Jody, for that. And so on those colors, looks good. And the reason you do this comparison is because districts, the burden is if your charter school in your district is performing better than your district schools, that's a major argument to approve the charter, right? If we were doing not as well as the district schools, and that happens sometimes, not too often with us, but it's out there. It's harder for the charter to make the case. And so, anyway, so that's a little bit on that. The other thing that the dashboard, all of this data is looking at is college and career readiness. Here's more, the color scheme, but that's Glacier. They can't give us cool little colors here, like I said. There's Yosemite. You can see where they are. Look, 36 points below standard in ELA for Yosemite, and for 61.5 points above standard ELA for Glacier. So that's, so then they equate that to colors. So other things that the dashboard looks at is percentage of your students that are college ready, percentage of your students that have completed the UC admissions requirements, and then also your graduation rates. Those are all really big pieces for your whole population of graduates, as well as certain subgroups, ELA, homeless, socioeconomically disadvantaged. So you make sure all those subgroups are also progressing along as well. So that's what's on the dashboard. All of this is freshened up data. You have all of this in the PDF, but this is yeah, so that's new for us. So any questions before I roll on to the next thing? Okay, so then I'm going to scroll down to page 25. Yeah.
Sorry, above that, there's a summary of kind of the NWEA data, above those graphs if you were wanting to talk about that at all, but I apologize.
Yeah, so here's NWEA data. What do you want to say about it?
I was going to say above, if you go up a little bit farther, this is kind of right
Right here.
is that's like the trend analysis, that we've done on there. Basically the idea is that our students are trending upward, like from where they start off in the fall to where they end in the spring. We're seeing generally pretty strong improvements in terms of those areas in the NWEA.
So it's encouraging. This is basically where we would be making our case to the district that we should continue on. And the data looks good for us. Always more to go, always more improvement, but the data looks good. So I'm going to go down here to page 25, get all my scrolling. So this is the next area that got a lot of update in regards to our English learner program. So we already had some language in what we do in regards to English learners and how we assess English learners, how we monitor their progress, how we reassess them and requalify them out of being an English language learner when they've become fluent in English. But since the time of that charter 5 years ago, there's been more that needs to be said. We have a really actually excellent English learner program. Our coordinator is Nancy Turner. She's a teacher here at Endeavor, but she serves as our EL coordinator for Mountain Home and Glacier as well. Our total numbers of EL students in Glacier is not many. It's probably 2. So it's a small number, but we still have a responsibility. 0 right now. So we have a responsibility for any student to serve them. And so this is new language into the charter. That's why it's red and underlined. That's basically outlines what we do in regards to serving our English language learner students. So on and on and on, more of that. That's the black was what was already in the document. The red is all new. So come down to page 35. Here was where a bunch of other new language was added. This health and safety used to be one paragraph. In this document, it was one paragraph. Well, now they want us to put a lot more in here. So the attorneys went to town and, oh, you gotta have all of this stuff. And so, again, largely, most of the pieces that are here, we already had something. There are things here that we did not. For instance, background checks. We've been doing staffing background checks forever, right? And so we already had procedures, now it has to be listed here. There are some things that are new to us that Holly has brought in, and the attorneys say we need. And so some of those things, I'll scroll through it, but we mandated reporter. How you handle, what do you do with mandated reporters? We've been doing that forever, of course, but now we have to talk about it. TB checking staff, you know, the staff are clear TB, we've been doing that forever, but now we have to talk about it. Included in here is suicide prevention. Some years ago, we had to start carrying and making sure our bathrooms were stocked with menstrual products. Wasn't in our charter, needs to be in our charter now, so there it is. School lunch, we've been doing school lunch for, you know, a number of years, but now we need to talk about it here in the charter. Pardon?
Human trafficking?
Human trafficking, California state law, so we have to mention that we are aware that that's there and how we would respond. What do we say? The charter school shall identify and implement the most appropriate. So we don't really have much in place, but we have to at least say that we're mindful of it. There's free and reduced lunch, California Healthy Youth Act. We've been doing this for years. We now have to talk about the charter. School safety plan. This is long-standing as well. Now it has to also be included in the charter. And then down to here, workplace. This is new. We've been talking to you a little bit about it. Workplace violence prevention is a new requirement by the state. So we have to mention that we're mindful of that and developing that program. Bloodborne pathogens, drug, alcohol-free environment, facility safety, anti-discrimination and harassment policies, which we've had forever, and now it has to be in the charter.
This was in our safety plan, it was included already.
Right, and now it happened. Bullying prevention, homicide threats. What are we gonna do about that? This is all state required stuff. Gun safety notice. So you'll all get a notice in your new packet as parents that guns are dangerous. So if you have them in the home, be careful. And so all of this new language added from one paragraph to this. So that's that. Wanted you to see it. And so then now down to, what do we got here? Oh, page 41. So admissions, this got new language as well. So one of the new laws was really focused on charters, not sorting and selecting students out, discouraging students to enter. It has been long I think largely a trope, but longly accused by people outside charters that charters cherry pick the best students. Because they perform well, and so they must be cherry picking the best students. And so the law required that charters can't cherry pick. You have to accept every student that comes to you. If you have room, you have to accept them. We do that. We've really been doing that forever. But now we have to say it. We do it. It's in the charter. There it is. That's new language. The rest of the document is, you know, same old document, and it's moved from this charter was originally, when I wrote it so many years ago, it was like 25 pages long, and now it's at 50. 55, it's becoming something. Eventually it'll really be something. So there's that information item. It'll be coming back to you in September and to be approved. It's meanwhile going to be going to Yosemite for their deliberation. And if they want changes, then I'll be bringing it back to you guys, but there'll be this process that's going to start in later summer. Any questions about all that?
Thank you very much, that's a lot to do. That's great, thank you.
Thanks.
Moving to item 26, agenda 20. Executive Director report.
Thank you. Oh, in your packet, you should have proposed board meeting dates,
Yes.
I believe. Nancy, are you doing that? Oh, thank you. So, there they are. This roughly follows the pattern of the days we've had here. It's built on Tuesdays. Board meetings happen at the board's pleasure. Tuesdays continue to seem to be okay, or is that all right? With the one remaining existing board member? Mary, if it's okay with you? And, Mary, we
Oh, it's
did,
still on, it wouldn't be okay with me.
it was happening at 3, they have to be in Endeavor because it's our largest school, we have to go to the largest place, or the largest attended county. It's happening at 3 because of,
Classes.
does it still need to happen at 3?
So I think, yes, the last class ends at 2:30, so I think 3 o'clock Tuesdays is still
Still,
the best.
so is that okay with you?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so at this point, unless y'all change your mind, what are you looking at? You don't care.
I do care.
So there's the board meeting dates then. Oakhurst bathroom, we're engaged in the fight. We have plans at the county, we've been doing things, the county comes back, you know how it goes, we've never built anything. And well, we now want you to do this, now we want testing here, now we want this study. So we're doing all of that and we keep feeding the county stuff. And we are expecting any day now for the county to say, green light, go, and hopefully our contractor, Craig Friesen, can drop everything and build our bathrooms. Our intent is to have it done this summer. I'm still holding that out as intent. Yeah, right. And Endeavor building search, we have our eyes on a building. And we have an investor who would be willing to purchase the building and do the tenant improvements and lease it to us. We are in the process right now of trying to ascertain whether after the tenant improvement costs for the investor, that would still make an affordable lease, right? If he acquires the buildings, I don't know what it would be like. Say the buildings are 2 million, and then there's, another 1 million in tenant improvements. After he does that, he's gonna come up with a lease structure. Can we afford that? So we have an architect we are working with that is doing up a sort of quick floor plan of how we want it laid out so that we can then calculate what that cost would be and then come back to the investor who happens to be the owner here, it's Ron Saul. And he's eager to do this for us if we want to go forward. Hey, does it look like we can afford what this would be? So we're in the process of that, and we will continue to be in touch with that architect and Ron.
Where's the building located?
It is on Fig Garden Loop, Fig Garden Drive, southwest North Raleigh Avenue and Fig Garden Drive. So it is northwest of us, almost to Herndon. Kind of, in my mind, it's kind of a nice.
I think it's a nice area.
Yeah, nice area. I think these buildings, there's 3 buildings that are all on the same property. 2 of them are 7,000 square feet, 1 is 15. They were finished in 2020, never occupied, but they're not finished out on the inside at all. And so he would end up buying the whole thing, but only charging us lease for what we occupy. So we're looking at the 2 7,000 foot buildings to, we double our square footage of what we have here and finish those out, kind of get those laid out, and then, but it's kind of neat, lots of parking, there's a lot to like.
Why are you not acquire all 3?
Well, he would be buying the whole property, but he wouldn't be charging us lease for everything except what we're occupying.
Okay.
Wouldn't.
You wouldn't leave the 3rd.
I don't know what he'd do with it. He may rent it off to another entity. I mean, he talks like you'll eventually be there. And
Well, sometimes, why not just take it your own?
well, I think we would be eventually there, but it's sort of like just putting, trying to use our money the most wisely.
So we take our current enrollment plus our waiting lists and come up with a potential.
Yep.
What it would be, tomorrow if we could, and that meets the 7,000. Now, once we're there in a couple of years, who knows how high we go. But we really never advertise, it's only word of mouth. And once we're there, I think we can have a much better chance of growing more. But right now, it makes no sense to have twice as much space as we need. But he's willing to buy the whole thing, build it out, and then lease the other part to somebody else in a certain amount of time, and give it to us in the future, which is, you can't ask.
You can't ask for
It just seems like a
That's the
very
trick.
well, we appreciate it.
It's been unoccupied for a couple of years, so it's a little bit of a haunt right now, but it's all new.
The exterior is beautiful.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's
great.
pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the businesses that are around it are good, like, yeah, like businesses would be happy to have in your school.
Some insurance agencies,
There's a conference
event
center,
center.
there's a conference center thing right here,
Nice. Yeah, it's called,
built by.
but they have like, you can have weddings.
I'm not sure. Sure.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's,
Mike, I just want to say, sorry, going back to the schedule,
uh,
if we wanted to start at 2:30, the room's available.
okay,
I could not do that with my schedule on Tuesdays currently, like 3 is probably
because you have to have the cabin free.
because I need to have a cabin free. I mean, Thursdays would work better for me, but it doesn't work, scheduling wise, Tuesday's pretty tight, but I think I can make it work still at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So at this point then, what that means is that September 10th, which is a Tuesday at 3, will be our first meeting. And then whoever you have as colleagues, Mary, then we can relook at that and determine forward.
Sounds good. Mary will hold down the fort.
Well, you started thinking, what is going on around here?
Ian will be here still.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm going to pass off.
Yes, I know.
This is my last meeting.
So this is Diana, this is serving as your humble secretary all these years. Yeah, she is dropping to you like a hot
No,
potato.
I mean, you're gonna be in good hands at the top.
Serving secretary.
Serving as secretary.
Congratulations.
And Diane, you did an amazing job. You did an amazing job,
That's right.
Diane.
Yeah,
This makes 10 years as a board secretary.
That's amazing.
10 years.
10 total years, 5 years.
Wow.
Good job.
Well, thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
You, for all the time you've been doing for us, I know that you have kept me in line.
That is a full-time job.
Great job with that, appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So next scheduled board meeting is September 10th, 2024 at 3 o'clock.
Didn't have anybody reporting on this because it's the last meeting, but I see John here. Do you want?
Yes,
do you have
yes.
any-
John, do you have anything to report?
I do not. I mean, I wasn't planning on reporting anything, but yeah, it was a good year, good end of the school year. So
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate your time for serving this.
Well, John, he didn't say it because he didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but he's feeling a little sad because he was #1 seed in the staff cornhole tournament. He was favored, like the bookies had John for sure as the guy who would win the cornhole tournament, but it was an upset, a total upset because John won more.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, everybody was surprised.
this is true. John was hot that day, so it was a good send off for him. But I was trying my hardest. So.
It's always nice.
Jody's upset too.
I defeated Jody though, so that's.
Oh, that's right. Eric was way up there.
A little controversial.
We'll have to do that for the students and have them sign up for a competition.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
They knocked all of us out.
Yeah.
Well, I was there. Hey, I was glad that I just did it. Every time I put it up on the screen, it's trying to stop.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to have to adjourn, but I just want to say thank you very much for everybody. And thank you, John, and it was a pleasure serving on this board, and thank you very much for all your time and effort everybody has put in. It's really neat to see the back end of it and how much work you guys put into it. It just really gives a whole another gratitude of my heart as a parent just seeing how much work goes into it. So thank you very much for serving everyone. Thank you for all that you do. And you guys, I will miss you guys. It's not,
We'll
so
miss you too.
have to focus on parenting and high school years. It's fun. So we will take an adjournment now, and it is time to adjourn, and we will close at 4:57.
All right. Thank
Thank you.
Do
you.
we have to move?
Well, it's okay.
I know
Can we make a movement?
I think she did it. I think she claimed executive privilege.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yep.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.